quite possibly their worst song.
Well, what's funny is you missed him playing Blood Sugar Sex Magic right before this. So
Right on.
We were
when
just blaring it, like just blasting it. I was like, yeah,
so
buddy.
when you show up late, that's what happens. You get the song you don't like.
Hey, when you're single parenting it up and got to cook dinner for everybody.
I told Joel, I said, after it was Blood Sugar Sex Magic, I played the red, and I was like, but I didn't tell him I was playing it. I go, I'm gonna play you another one. And I remember the first time I ever heard it, I was like, dude, you were so excited to play it for us. So
This is true.
Are we
there
ready?
it is.
Almost. I'm queuing up the first listen.
Oh, I wanted to do this week's, but okay.
Well, that's what happens when you're late.
Oh shit. Shots fired.
No, this will be a good one. So okay, so I was telling Gurfers that I had two quick stories. So I got in town Sunday, got set up, and then the event didn't start till 4. And so it was like almost like 11:30. So I walked over to the hotel. It's about 3 blocks away. Got set up, and I was like, I'm gonna go check out the town. So I went ahead, walked around. Well, while I was walking around, there's all these cool venues, just local venues. And while I was going through this one area, they had a list of concerts. So every one I would see who was playing. Well, Silver Sun Pickups was playing.
Right
So
on.
I look it up, and it's a block away from my hotel. So I'm like, sweet. So I didn't see a venue a block away, and I went the block, but I thought, whatever. So I went. This is part 2 of the story tying back into story 1. So I go back to the hotel after I'm done. I go to the convention center at 4:00. It's supposed to start. So I'm kind of sitting there in my booth. People are kind of milling in. All of a sudden, like 8 bars show up on wheels at various locations in this convention center. So I'm like, it just started. Normally they wait till like after it's been going on. So I kind of like watch. Everybody to the left of me has drinks, everybody to the right, everybody behind. So I'm like, okay. So I went and got a drink, and they're all free. And the rest of the night, it was anywhere you went was free drinks.
Right on.
And we're not talking like cheap stuff. We're talking like the good stuff. Like, I mean, if you want margaritas, they make margarita. They actually today, and this is again, today at 11:00, the bars show up again. And people are getting Bloody Marys. I'm like, this is the best. So anyway,
where are you?
I'm at a thing called Cuyahoga. I'm in Wichita, Kansas for Cuyahoga. It's an oil and gas thing. So, but so I finished doing all the stuff. I have dinner. They have free food at the convention and whatnot, free drinks again. So I walk back to the hotel, throw on some shorts, and I look up where the place is located. And every time I'm like walking over there, as I'm getting closer, it says Scottish Rite Hospital or something. It turns out that the venue is an old church, like a really old church that they converted into a concert venue. So when you walk in, it's like that old 60s red carpet, and you immediately go up a flight of stairs, and the show is on the second floor with all this stained glass. It was really one of the coolest venues. But at one point, everybody's jumping, and like you could feel the floor moving. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. But they were so good. The band was so good. Jeez. The opening bands weren't that good. No offense. We like bees and whatever, and the curves with 2 U's. But Silver Sun Pickups they were so good. They were so good. It was a good time, but a lot of free drinks here in Wichita. A lot of art. They have an art installation that they opened up, and they have this whole wall that covers half a block, and it's got black the chalkboard paint, and kids can go and they let them draw with chalk, and then they have all these art installations all around, and then They clean it off every 2 or 3 weeks, and then they start over again. This is a really hipper town than I was expecting. And the breweries
on.
here, I went to one yesterday and it was awesome. So good food. So
Nice.
I leave at 6 in the morning tomorrow. So
Woohoo!
Well, there you go.
that's where the DeLorean was, though, is at that convention. So maybe I'll throw a photo of the DeLorean on there.
You should.
But the guy that built, I told Ryan earlier while we were waiting for you, the guy who built it did it all by hand. And the engine, he goes, man, the engine in these cars they're crap. He goes, so I did this, and he lifts up the back, and it's like this V8 Corvette engine. It's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. So,
Noise.
Sweet. Well, we'll jump right in on this. This one will be fun.
Yeah, what are we doing today, Mr.
You're going to
Gophers?
find out here in a second. 3, 2, 1, jam in on the one. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the UN3. Oh my God, let's do that one again. Holy shit, I've only had about that much, not a lot. Let's try this again. Wow.
Wow.
It was the first Monday of school, and it is what it is. Let's try this again.
Okay, let's
Jam
do it.
in on the one. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the UNT3 podcast. We're the podcast that brings you all music all the time. I'm your host, Ryan Gerfers, here with Mr. Wichita, Kansas, the hero. He's being a hero there in Wichita, Mr. Joel Cox. And then, so got a question for Mr. One Take. Did you get dinner done in one take?
You know it.
Yes,
this.
he even gets dinner done in one take. So, Mr. Christian Fisher over here, man. But we're three best friends. Whenever we get together, we talk music, anything and everything music. Sometimes we have civil debates, and really it's those two debating it, because I just sit back and I kind of like, hey, here's a topic, and I know it's going to cause a little riff. Here you
He's
go.
the
Have fun with it.
instigator.
So I
Why
like
am I the instigator?
No, Ryan is.
Oh, he
I'm
definitely
the
is.
instigator.
He
And
drops the bomb in the middle of the crowd and then watches the mayhem ensue.
That's right. And then I just sit back with my frosty
He's the
beverage
guy
and
that
enjoy.
he's the guy that walks into the middle of the crowd, crop dusts everybody, and then walks away.
Oh, that's the
I have done that
worst.
before, by the way.
You are the
I
worst.
I have done that. So, man, we're going to jump right into it. If you watched the last episode, we tried something new. I played some drums for these guys, and they had to guess the track off just the drums, and they really enjoyed that. We are not doing that tonight. But if that sounds like something that you enjoy or would like to listen to, go check out the episode before this one.
Mhm.
We will do that again in the future because we've got a whole lot more tracks from that person. But we are going to do something new right now. At least I don't think we've done this before. They might correct me, but I want to do an album review.
Oh,
And so
Word.
here's the deal. I just selected an album that I heard one of y'all two talk about a few weeks back. You mentioned it. So I remembered that. This is what we're going to do. We're going to go back to 1994. That's what we're doing.
Ooh.
We're getting in our DeLorean time machine that this guy sat in today, the day that this episode was recorded, and we're going back to June 7th, 1994. I'm going to give you a little snippet of the album we're talking about, one of the more popular songs off of this album, and then I guarantee you, will tell you what album this is.
94, huh?
94, June 7th of 94.
June 7th.
Y'all ready for this?
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Here we go. Not that. That would not be the song. Wow. Let's see. I only had one sip. So let's try
What
this
are you
again.
drinking there, Gerfers?
Man, I tell
Jeez.
you what.
Moonshine.
Man.
Maybe. Here we go. Let's try this again.
Okay.
I have referenced this album many times. This song was my least favorite song on the album for the longest time. I hated this song because it was everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but for those that don't know, that's Stone Temple Pilots off the album Purple.
Yeah.
And Interstate Love Song is the song that we just heard.
Sheesh.
Correct. So-
The bass player from this band is in our updated super group,
Yeah.
right? But what I think the underrated member of this band is the drummer.
100%. I was actually thinking the same thing.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a few little things about this album. And really, I mean, what I'd like to do is stick to this album. I know they've got some other good albums and stuff. I mean, maybe a little compare and contrast here and there, but really, so I said it was released June 7th of 94. On May 25th of 1993 is when they recorded Big Empty. July 12th of 93, they recorded Lounge Fly. And then in March of 94 is when the rest of the album was recorded. And then they went ahead and released it in June, on June 7th. Their track list, I mean, there's some big time songs on here. So I'm going to go in order of the track list. They've got Meat Plow, Vaseline, Lounge Fly,
Yeah.
Interstate Love Song, Still Remains,
That's my favorite song.
Pretty Penny, Silver Gun, Super Sun, Big Empty, Unglued, Army Ants, and then the last track is Kitchenware and Candy Bars / My Second Album.
Yeah.
That's the hidden
The
track.
hidden track.
That's the hidden track.
It's a joke. It's a joke track.
And so
But
really,
it's amazing.
Oh, it is. It is.
here's the cool thing about this album. When it came out, it peaked at #1 in the US, right?
As
So
well
when
it
it was,
should have.
and it also peaked at #1 in Australia. In the first week that this album came out, so it debuted at #1 in the US, and in that first week, it sold 252,000 copies.
Yeah.
And then over its lifetime, it has sold over 6 million copies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is back in the day when an album came out. If it didn't sell upwards of 200,000 copies in its first week, it was deemed a failure. Nowadays, if you sell 250,000 copies of an album, that's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
right? So that's just the kind of the little, like, in that time period, that's like where the state of the music business at that time. So this was
Yeah. Yeah.
pre-Napster, pre-downloads, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
And I've often referred to this album as the perfect summer album.
Yeah.
Right. It was released in the summertime. To my ears, maybe it's because I got it the day it came out. I remember driving to Hastings. We had a Hastings in Lake Jackson. We were hip enough to have a Hastings.
Yeah.
And this is back in the day when people would line up outside the record store.
Yeah.
And I got there right before the record store opened, and there was a line. There wasn't a long line, right? Not like a line for a Guns N' Roses or a Metallica or, back then. But it was a good 20, 25 deep, and everybody was there for the same reason. And it was to get that album.
Yep. 100%.
I don't know. It's my favorite Stone Temple Pilots album.
Yep.
So, Christian, you said your favorite song is which one? What track?
Still Remains.
Okay, here. So, here you go. Let me turn it up.
What do you think the vocal line he sings here?
outro
get
solo on this is so good too.
I get goosebumps every time I hear that song.
Yeah,
It just
it's great.
one of the things I like about, say, like a Nirvana, a 3-piece band, or a band like Stone Temple Pilots, where it's got one guitar player, a bass player, and a lead singer, is that having only one guitar leaves so much room for the bass to be creative and not just mirror or mimic the guitar player, right? I mean, if you just listen to what the bass player's playing there, he's keeping he's steadying the ship, but he's got some really cool lines in there, and it's
Yeah.
just the outro guitar solo at the end, and the break, that drum that brings it back in, that drum part. Oh, that song that's probably my favorite Stone Temple Pilots song.
Yeah.
So
No, 100%. So what's crazy to me is, and I'm not even joking, Sunday, I listened only to this album all day. Like when I was going around and doing stuff, I was just listening to Stone Temple Pilots. And I actually did listen to, I'm sorry, on Saturday, that's all I did is I listened to just that album. And of course, I also listened to Chester Bennington, but that's all. We're sticking to this album. But I remember when Core came out, the first album, everybody was saying they're Creed. And I never heard it. Like, but people would say, oh, they sound like Creed, they sound like Pearl Jam, they're just part of the Seattle.
Core came out way before Creed did.
Well, this is they were saying like it was all part of that grunge sound and all that stuff. And I remember, like, I never got it, but I was like, whatever. But this album really, it's their sophomore album. I don't know if we said that. It's their second album, and I really feel like this album really separated them completely from anything grunge related. And every song on this album is just killer. And it's like you said, like the bass player, just like on that song, he's pedaling the note, but he's playing a lick that's still keeping it pedaled within the same note. What the guitar player is doing his thing and the vocal, but yet it's still solid. And every time I listen to this band, I hear something different. And I do agree. The drummer, Eric Kretz, I think is his last name.
Kretz, yeah.
And he's like Neil Peart in the sense that Neil, it sounds like he's doing something very straightforward and simple, but when you break it down, it's actually very complex. And that's how Eric is. Like, he does straight drum rhythms, but he does it in such a way that it doesn't sound like, it sounds like it's normal, but it's really not, like an off kick or a weird hi-hat. And the other thing is, I always feel like he's not going to make the beat. Like, he's always, for the most part, even, like on some of the faster stuff, like Vaseline, I always feel like he's not going to make the beat, but he's dead on. It's just an incredible album. Every song on this album is just incredible.
Well, one of the things I like about this album in particular is because it's such a huge left turn from their debut album.
Yeah.
It that was one of the things that helped, I guess you could call them grunge, because they came out during the grunge era, and they, he does have that Eddie Vedder quality to his voice, that tone, but you can understand what he says.
Yeah.
Right. But it didn't peg them into one like this. And even if you listen to their first album, Core, it's all over the place too.
It doesn't sound grunge to me, but like it is heavier in the sense of like,
it is
like rock.
Yeah,
but the second album
it's on the heavier side, and this album is more on the alternative side, if you will, right?
Yeah.
But
but it's different. Like, I really feel like that second album, it completely separated.
It's way different. And one of the things that I think really separates them from every other quote unquote grunge band was Scott Weiland, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you had your Kurt Cobains, and you had your Eddie Vedders, and your Lane Stanleys. They just stood there and sang, right? And they were melancholy, and they were, not Scott.
Mm-mm.
Scott was all over the place, dancing funny and
Dancing,
weird,
yeah.
right? And like a grunge band to me was a band not necessarily out of Seattle, but they were the bands that were like, oh, we don't want to be big and famous. We want to stay this small little band, but we want to enjoy all the things that come with being a rock star. Not Scott. Scott was like, I'm a rock star through and through, and he performed like it on stage. He dressed like it on stage.
He was a front man.
He was a front man, and I mean, even in his stint with what's the other band?
Velvet Revolver.
Velvet Revolver, right? He was the same.
Yeah.
And then he goes back to STP, and and this album, more so than the one before, this album really shows what he could do vocally.
Yeah.
Right. I don't put him up there as one of the best singers ever. I don't put him up there with a Chris Cornell or a Lane Staley. He's not up there. He's not a Freddie Mercury, right? But he's unique. He stands out. And this album, I think he came into his own as a singer in this album.
Yeah.
Would it be fair to compare, since we're talking about Scott, would it be fair to compare him to somebody like a Steven Tyler, somebody who's,
I would say, more like a Mick Jagger?
oh, that's fair. That's
Just
fair.
Like if you watch Mick Jagger perform, he's not the greatest singer, but man, is he a showman. And they both kind of have like the same kind of dance moves where
Yeah.
they're not really dancing, they're just moving their body weird and like
Contortioning.
But somehow it fits with the music that's being played. And so, I would say he's more in the vein of a Mick Jagger.
I got you. Hey, so Joel, what is your favorite track off this album?
Man, for me, to be honest, the one that Fisher played obviously is one of them, but the first two tracks off the album, I mean, those are
Meat Plow and
Vaseline.
Go ahead,
yeah.
I'll give you a little bit of Meat Plow and then we'll hit Vaseline.
Just how it starts.
Yeah, I mean, it's just yeah.
When you want to take Fisher back to being 16, you play this album.
Fine place for a day full of breakdowns. Takes more than a meltdown to show us how. Throw a tack on the road, stop the meat plow. Got a bullet, but it ain't mine.
So yeah.
Dude, and it's
what
like,
I like about go ahead.
If you listen to the drummer, like I almost made you stop it. Like, wait, go back to the beginning and listen when he does that, and then he does like this hi-hat, like a accent, but he like pauses. So get to
all right.
Yeah,
I'm
just
starting
listen
it over
to that.
from the very beginning. Here we go.
Yeah, listen to that hi-hat.
Right there.
So it's little things like that, and he does it all over the place where he pauses and then keeps going, and you don't think he's going to make it, but it does, and then he switches to that ride right before the Ryan. If you haven't heard the beginning of the whole song, that is a great song.
Ryan, how much of this album have you actually heard other than Interstate Love Song and Big Empty?
I have listened to the entire album before. But I don't know it in depth the way y'all do.
Okay.
But I own this album.
Yeah.
And so I've listened to the whole thing. But really for me, Vaseline, Interstate Love Song, Still Remains is one I like. Big Empty. So like the big name songs that came off of this are really
Silver Gun Superman's a good one too.
Yes. But here, let's do this one because this song, Vaseline, to me, the very beginning of it doesn't sound like something that would come out of the 90s. It almost sounds like a tribute to something that was in the 70s.
Yeah.
It was also, it became part of the intro to MTV News.
Okay.
I did not know that.
Yep. Oh, not this one. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're talking about Megadeth.
Yeah, but one of their songs was
And I like how they
One time a thing occurred to me. What's real and what's for sale? We were kissed and tried to take it.
And this guitar solo is stupid.
that bass.
Two times and it has.
yeah,
Oh.
that album, that song, that album. I mean, it's just there's not a bad track on the album. Now,
There's
I'm not a big fan of Pretty Penny. Right? I'm not a
See, and
big-
I love it. I think
I'm
it's
not-
great. It's straight Zeppelin, man. That's straight
Well, it's a
album
Zeppelin
for
cover, isn't it?
Zeppelin. No, it's a original, but it sounds like Black Mountainside. You know, it's
Well,
with
here.
lyrics.
I know they covered a Zeppelin song.
Have you seen your mother, girl? Has she gone away? Gone away and found the pearl, but the price she paid.
What's so amazing about that is how different that sounds than the song I just got done playing before it.
Well, that's what I like about the album is you hear the first track, Meat Plow, and you're like, okay, this is a
Rock
similar
album.
this is similar to what we just had a couple of years ago on their debut album, and then they go into Vaseline. You're like, that's different,
Yep.
right? And then as the album goes on, Army Ants is another good one. Go ahead and play that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, yeah.
Oh,
And to me, it doesn't sound dated.
Mm.
no, but you hear it and you know exactly when it came out.
Oh yeah.
That's Listen to that bass.
God, so good.
I tell you what, man, like I'll never forget. And one of my favorite MTV Unplugged episodes is STP's
Yes.
MTV Unplugged. And they played this song that I'm about to put up here. And the unplugged version of this song was pretty legit. And so this is one of their big songs off of here. So here we go.
This was not the song they intended to be on the Crow soundtrack.
Oh really? What song?
Hold on.
Driving faster in my car, falling farther from just what we are. Smoke a cigarette and lie some more. These conversations kill. Falling faster in my car. Time
mean, that again, we're gonna say it every time. The drums and the bass. I mean, the guitar, and the thing is Robert the bass player is amazing, and Dean, his brother, is amazing. But dude, the bass and that drum, I mean, just that's drummer speak. All the drummers going,
Yeah.
I know it, I know it.
So here's the question to follow up, and if we're not doing them as a featured artist, but this question can be asked.
Sure.
Do they get the recognition they deserve when they're put up against the Nirvanas, Alice in Chains, Soundgardens, Pearl Jams, or are they kind of the little brother to those bands?
I think they do. In my opinion, I don't think they do. And I think that the main reason is because of the volatile nature of the frontman, his
Yeah.
drug addiction and
I mean,
all that stuff.
They-
I mean, that's just my
they-
honest opinion.
they came out, they were like that second wave of bands that came out post grunge, right? You
Yeah.
had your Nirvanas, Soundgardens, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jams, but right behind them came STP and some other bands. And so, I mean, I guess you could say that the casual music fan would probably say yes, they're the little brother of Pearl Jam specifically because of how the frontmen sound similar. But the song that was supposed to be on the Crow soundtrack was a song called Only Dying. And I believe it was a cover. And because of the nature of the lyrics of the song, they decided this isn't a song that we should put on the soundtrack.
Because he
So
died.
so they
Yeah.
put Big Empty instead. But that being said, which if you haven't heard that album, that soundtrack, that's in my top 5 of movie soundtracks of all time. Go check out our episode on that very topic.
Yep. 100%.
But I mean, again, there's really not a bad track on that album.
There's not. And the one thing that I think that we haven't talked about this album too is how, and at least in my opinion, and we've done this as an episode in the first year of this podcast existence, how iconic the album cover is.
Right.
Yeah.
Like this is one of the more popular album covers that's out there, at least from the 90s.
Well,
least
and
in
it's,
my
I
opinion.
it's
would-
the front and the back. Like it's both. Like you have the cake on the back and there was actually two different
Yes.
there were two different covers.
Right. Back when bands did that kind of thing.
Yeah. So
But back then you had to have a catchy eye-catching album cover. Right?
Well,
That was one of the ways you sold your music.
So somebody for me who doesn't know bands and music in depth the way you guys do, I think that speaks volumes of what you just said, Christian. Because if back in the day, we don't have this anymore, but back in the day, if I was in an album store, Virgin Records, Hastings, whatever you want to call it, if I saw this on an end cap and I saw a baby sitting on an Asian dragon looking thing in a blue clouded sky, I'm at least going to stop and go, what the hell is this?
yeah.
And pick it up and look at it and go,
There-
what
and-
is this?
And that was one way I used to shop for music. I would just go in a record store and if I didn't have something in mind I wanted to buy, I would do one of two things. I would go and I would find the album cover that just popped out at me the most and I would pick it up and go buy it, or I would find someone who works at the record store and go, "Hey, what do you recommend?" And the first thing they pulled, I would go buy that. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, physical media is dying. I mean, you've got mom and pop record stores all over the
Yeah.
place, and I mean, I wouldn't say they're making a comeback, but they're not going away.
Yeah.
So you can definitely go do that, and I would recommend that to anybody. Just go to a record store, and whether you pick up a vinyl, a CD,
Cassette.
a cassette, if
There you
can
go.
find a cassette player,
Yeah.
right? But pick something up, go, because one of the things I miss about buying music now is I would especially if it was an album like this one from a band that I liked. I would buy the album and I'd pull the sleeve out and I would read the lyrics as the song was playing, and I would just pour over and just study the lyrics and memorize them. And right, you don't have that nowadays. You don't have that tactile tactile sensation of holding the cover, opening it up, looking at the artwork inside, reading the liner notes. I loved reading the liner notes, right? Because bands used to, like when they would do their thanks, they would call out and they would call people by their nicknames and stuff like that. And you'd see pictures from like the recording studio or on the road, right? Things like that. And or just more artwork that tied into the album cover,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, like I said, I remember I bought this the day it came out. It was the beginning of summer, and I remember immediately going home and putting it in the CD player and putting a blank tape in the cassette player and making a copy of
Yeah.
it, right? And then
Oh my
giving
gosh.
that copy to the tape to a friend of mine so that they could have the album, right? Pirating music. That was what pirating music
That
looked
was
like
our
in our
version
day.
of Napster.
There you
Right.
go.
And just I remember, well, and you would make a tape because maybe you didn't have a CD player in your car, but you had
Yeah.
a tape player so you could put it in the car,
Or your
you had a-
Walkman, you
or
put in
your
your
Walkman.
Walkman.
Yeah.
right? And so, that,
Or you were making a mixtape for your woman.
Oh
Right.
man.
or yeah, I mean that, and but that I remember listening. That album, that one, and like Master of Puppets and Ride the Lightning. Those were the 3 albums I listened to that summer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna play another track. It'll be the last track I play, but it's the one track on the album that's got the explicit label on it. And so let me go ahead and hit play. I'm sure y'all will know who this is or what it is as soon as I hit play.
I hope we know who it is. We've all been talking about him for like 20 minutes.
See, this is the song that was the beginning of MTV News. Love this song.
It's okay, believe me. Things I need me, you kill me. The lounge fly, the fire bring me. I think I'm free, but the dogs, they won't release me.
So good. So good. So Ryan, to answer, I was thinking about it while you guys were talking previously, and of course listening to this. I really think that they don't get their credit. And I don't know why. Maybe it is because it's a second wave, but like, I just pulled it up just to kind of remind myself like how many great albums. You have Core, you have Purple, you have Tiny Music, which those 3, we always joke like a competition who had the best 3 album stretch. Those 3 albums right there are killer. But then you have the number 4 album that they did. I'm not counting the live MTV Unplugged, but you have number 4 and then Shangri-La Da. I mean, with Scott Weiland, I can't think of a bad Stone Temple Pilots album. Like,
No.
even when I wasn't into them later on, when they released their self-titled album, I still thought these guys are off. Like, I could put it on and listen to it and want to listen to it.
Yeah.
So I do believe that they do not get the credit that they really deserve, because like I love Pearl Jam. Those first 3 albums of Pearl Jam, 10, Versus, and Vitology are great.
Vitology, yeah.
But then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, Yield is a good album, but like,
No Code.
yeah. So, I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's not,
Yeah.
but like, you put on I don't care what you put on, just any of them, and I want to listen to those. So it's a shame because now, I mean, the core of the band is still together, and of course, then they got Chester Bennington for a while. Now he's dead, so that won't. I mean, it's a really sad story because they're
Well, and the guy that's their singer now, he sounds a lot like Scott,
yeah,
a lot like him.
yeah, but he just doesn't have that
He
same.
he doesn't have the presence on stage.
He doesn't have the presence that Scott Weiland had. I mean, because like Talk Show, which was their failed attempt at rebranding themselves, I mean, that was
Right.
just wasn't good. So
Well, I mean, we did had that episode that bands that died with their was it lead singer that died or just a member who
I
died?
just
It was
remember
with the lead. No, it was the lead singer.
oh, it was the lead singer. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they've gone on, but you'll never have the Stone Temple Pilots that blew up because Scott's gone,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
And you can go on and we can debate like whatnot. I mean, but they put out an album in 2020. Like, how many of us knew that without?
Sure.
I mean,
They-
I did only
right,
because
like
I
you
follow
know
that
about
stuff.
everything that comes out, but like, but also albums. There's not a big deal about albums coming out nowadays either, right?
Yeah.
There's not the anticipate unless you follow that band.
Yeah.
But MTV's dead, and so that's in the 90s. That's how I knew most albums were coming out. They would say, hey, they would talk, they would interview the band, they would go out and the band's on
They
the road.
promote weeks
They
ahead
would-
of time.
right, and
Yeah.
you knew, oh wait, this album's coming out, so
Yeah, we had New Music Tuesday. They don't even have that anymore. They moved it to Thursday, so it's the same day that movies come out. So it's kind of
Right.
like,
yeah, Tuesday was the day that albums were dropped,
yeah,
right? And oh god, just nostalgia all over the place.
yeah. But this
But
is a
that-
great
that-
album.
that album, that was 94. Yeah, that was right around the time. That was one of the very first albums that I bought for myself.
Mhm.
That because I just I just learned, I just got my license. I was able to drive myself, go whatnot, and just, oh, okay, the album's coming out tomorrow. I'm gonna get up in the morning and I'm gonna before work and I'm gonna go get the album and listen to it. I mean, I listened to that thing nonstop.
Yeah,
Wore that thing out.
yeah,
And I'll say it again. I've said it like 100 times this episode. There's just not a bad song on the album. Like I said, I might skip Pretty Penny every now and again just because it's not my favorite, but
yeah.
and I agree, Ryan, that unplugged is amazing.
Yeah,
And
It is.
and of course, Big Empty from the Unplugged is the big popular one. That one and their
And Plush.
yeah.
Plush.
Plush was the big one too. Yeah,
And so
But man, June 7th, 1994, Stone Temple Pilots Purple, 11 songs. The album runtime is 47 minutes and 3 seconds. If you haven't heard it, go listen to it. It's amazing.
Yes.
And for somebody like me that doesn't have the same knowledge that they do of this band, for somebody like me to say, go check this out because it's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome.
You know what else? I mean, and this is a broader point, but this album, you gave the runtime of the album. The runtime of the album is less than an hour.
Yeah.
Like back then, when you went and you recorded an album, this was, I mean, there was digital recording back then, but for the most part, in the early to almost mid 90s, everything was predominantly still done on tape. So, man, you had to have these songs tight. You had to have these songs pretty much all the way written before you got in the studio.
yep,
And, you didn't have time to go, well, maybe this song or maybe this song. You went in, you're like, here are the 9 songs, 10 songs that we're going to record. Boom, in and out 4 weeks, unless you're a band like Metallica and you spend 9 to 10 months or a year in the studio. But
yeah,
that, and I think that's what makes this album so good, is because, like he said, 2 songs were recorded in 93, and then the rest of the song recorded in 94, released in the latter half of the year. Like, you had to you had to have it. And plus, and that's when bands had deadlines to make for
Yep.
their albums to drop. Like we had to have it done by this time so we could get it off and printed and shipped out to record stores to be released on June 7th.
100%. Yeah.
All right. So
So what are we doing now,
well,
Coach?
we're going to a featured artist. Now,
Okay.
I've had this featured artist thinking about him for a little while. Figured just plug him in, let's see what happens. What's interesting about this is last night I was on a Zoom call with my family, and I did not realize that this band is a favorite of one of my family members.
Oh.
So before I hit play on this song, this is an interesting, when I was looking stuff up on this band, the numbers I'm about to read to you, and then I'm going to follow it up with something that I'm going to hit play.
Okay.
22 studio albums, 45 live albums,
Wow.
Good Lord.
28 compilation albums.
How old is this band?
They've sold over 100 million albums worldwide. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2016. Here's the kicker. With all of those numbers being said, they don't have any major music awards that I was able to find. Not a single major music award.
Deep Purple.
So I'm going to hit play right
Rush. Oh, it
Hey!
Mother trucker. I got it on the first guess.
here. That bass is just chugging.
Ian Pace on the drums. John Lord on the keys. Richie Blackmore on guitar.
So Fisher said it. That is Deep Purple.
Killed it, man.
Now, here's the deal. We played my mom's favorite band, the Eagles. And then Deep Purple, I had no idea that Deep Purple is actually one of my dad's favorite bands.
What?
I didn't know that. He apparently went and saw them in concert in 1970, and that was his first show.
Wow.
Lars Ulrich's favorite band too.
And I was like,
well, but
oh.
it's okay. That's good.
So they're an English rock band formed in London in 1968. And so I gave you their rundown, but is that how can a band here's my question. How can a band that has numbers like that, 100 million albums sold worldwide, over 100 million, all those studio albums, live albums, blah, 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 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees, and they don't have any awards? Like they had like
Well,
some
okay,
like
so-
they had some like weird Hall of Fame award, but it was like some like whatever the hell it is. It's
So, in my estimation, they're kind of like Rush, where Rush had a huge following, has a huge following, but the critics are just like whatever. Like the critics, and Deep Purple was kind of the same. Like Deep Purple didn't have a huge following here in the States until they put out that first live, like that Live from Tokyo.
yeah.
Right. They put out that album, and that's when they blew up in the States. And they'd already been together for, damn near a decade. And so, plus, I mean, just listen to the kind of music they play. I mean,
sure.
you played Smoke on the Water, but another one of their big songs, Highway Star, or
Well,
go ahead and
it's-
play that one.
It's funny you say that because that was the next song I had queued up ready to go.
Yeah.
Minutes
so-
of preparation.
Look at this.
Minutes.
Nobody gonna take my girl, I'm gonna keep her to the end. And nobody gonna have my girl, she stays close on every bed. Oh, she's a killing machine.
That bass, man.
The keyboard player for this band was my pick for our original supergroup.
Gotcha.
You're about to guitar solos next, man.
Yeah, but that's
Oh,
that
well,
song-
did you
that
want to
song-
hear the guitar solo?
That song is the intro to, I think, Rock Band 2. I
Okay.
think that's the intro song to Rock Band 2. And I mean, and this band is a perfect example of why Eddie Trunk hates the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Because Deep Purple. So one of the ways, or one of the criteria for being eligible for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is you can't be inducted until the 25th anniversary of your first album, right? And that came and went a long time ago for Deep Purple, but they didn't get inducted until 2016. And the founding member of the band, John Lord, the keyboard player, had already passed away. And so, you know,
Because they've
Richie
had
Black-
a lot of musicians in that band.
right, because Richie Blackmore, the original guitar player, he's come and gone, right? He went on to form Rainbow with Dio. Wah!
Mhm.
And, you know, but
Ton of singers.
yeah, ton of singers. I mean, David Coverdale was in
Yeah, he
Deep
was.
Purple. That
yeah.
White Snake, Ryan.
Yeah.
You'll know who,
Okay.
right? So,
I mean, so
Glenn
many different
Glenn Hughes was in the band at
bass
one point,
bass
and lead
vocals.
singer,
Yeah.
bass and vocals. I mean, they've had, you know, at one point the only original member was the keyboard player, but you know, over time, original members have come back into the band, and I think that's one of the reasons you don't see them winning major awards and things like that is because they were a band that was always on the road. They'd go in, record an album, and go right back on the road,
Yeah.
right? But that's what you did back then.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, this band is, if you don't know Smoke on the Water,
Yeah.
famous,
mean,
most famous three chords in all of rock and roll.
You know, it's funny. There are songs that every kid wants to learn guitar. That's the riff that they want to learn. So you have Smoke on the Water, you have Iron Man, and you have Smells Like Teen Spirit. For some reason, those are the three that every kid nowadays wants to learn. Now, granted, it gets different, but like those are just three riffs. Like when kids, I can't tell you how many times that's what they want to learn. And just based off of the fact that that's so popular, that alone should have got him in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame years ago.
Yeah.
Sure.
Go to
yeah.
Guitar Center. I guarantee you hear at least one.
Yeah.
Probably played incorrectly.
Probably.
But
So-
I love the keyboard too. Like, I mean, the drums and the bass, people have been doing that, but that distorted like organ sound. I mean, that's Deep Purple, man.
Yeah.
People have copied that. I mean, ever since, because you could have basically two guitar players in a way, you know, because you could just have those chords
Well,
stacked up
and-
like that.
Yeah, and I said it while we were listening to the first song. Like this is Lars Ulrich's favorite band, and he has told the story, and I've seen him tell it many times, where he talks about it was his first concert in Denmark with his dad, and that's what, if there was no Deep Purple, there would be no Metallica, because that's going and seeing Deep Purple live was what made him go, that's what I want to do. I want to play music. Right, because he was
And-
a tennis player up until then.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you said this already. You might have, but he in 2016 was actually who inducted them.
Yeah,
Like
he was the one who inducted him.
he was
into
the one that
Hall of
inducted
Fame.
them, which I think is pretty cool. I'm gonna play another song real quick from the beginning.
You
When
played
I was-
Hush?
When I was cute, no, I actually don't have Hush on the list, but I can
Really?
play it.
I've
but-
played it. I've played it.
But here you go. I'm gonna play this, and we'll
Okay.
see if you know this song. Because other than Smoke on the Water, I don't know Deep Purple songs, and so I kind of had to queue up what were some of their greatest hits and most popular. This was on there. Here we go.
Smaller, we're shipping like anything that's a bullet.
So that's Speed King. And so when I was doing the research for what songs to play, that kept popping up on the basically in the top 5 of all the like most
Yeah.
popular songs
It's a
of
good one.
them.
Yeah,
You should,
it
Woman
makes me
from
want to
Tokyo
sit
is a
on
good
the.
one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna say it makes me want to sit on the hood of a Camaro, of a 70s Camaro with no shirt, maybe some flip-flops and some cut-off jeans.
Yeah.
It makes
Drinking
me
a
it
Bud
makes me
Light.
think of makes me think of Dazed and Confused.
Yes. Yes.
But you could play Space Truckin'. That's a good song.
Yeah. Hush
um,
is we played Hush in our high school band.
Dude, that's a great song.
I mean,
Hush.
and like our high school, like the high school band at football games played
Yeah.
Hush.
Well, let's see if y'all know this one because I'm about to play one that neither of y'all have named yet.
Okay.
And this is the last one I have, and then
Okay.
I can play more. So here we go.
Dude, that drummer.
So do y'all know that song? Do y'all know the name of that one?
That's a new one on me, but that just that drum fill alone makes me want to listen to the whole
That-
song.
Go ahead.
That song is called Fireball.
Okay.
Dude, that drum intro.
Yeah.
Yes.
God.
And
the
so
drum intro.
that is another song when I was looking up what to play, that kept popping up in like the top 5 of their more popular songs. And so those are the songs that I have. What was something else that you said to play?
Hush.
Yeah,
Hush.
Hush is a big is
It was
big
their
one.
first. It was like the first single / hit, if you will.
I got you. Well, here.
It's kind of campy, which is funny because it's
Well, you can obviously tell what they were influenced by and when it came out. Like,
They were
very Hendrixy.
that's the keyboard.
One of Bruce Dickinson's favorite songs.
Yeah. So later on in the song, Ryan, it has a drum
Yeah.
break.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
go back and listen to it. It's
So the one
Ian
thing
Pace, dude.
the
Ian
one
Pace.
thing my
In
dad
pace.
the one thing my dad said last night in the meeting, because I asked full disclosure, I asked my dad and my siblings, I read them the list of bands and artists that I have that we are eventually going to cover in featured artists, and I said, who should we cover tomorrow? And it came down to 2, and I don't mind telling you who the other band was. Deep Purple was the one that they were all like, yeah, do Deep Purple. The other one was Journey.
I'm
Well,
so glad you picked Deep Purple.
and so, but my dad kept saying, he was like, do Deep Purple. He was like, they were so popular back in their day. He was like, they were everywhere. And I'm like, okay, I'll play. Deep
Well,
Purple.
okay. I don't know what crowd your dad ran with in high school and
his
early
other
20s.
favorite. His other favorite band was Three Dog Night.
Oh, okay. I know who he ran with then, because those, like I said, you could have taken any of those Deep Purple songs and you could have plopped them down at any point in the movie Dazed and Confused, and it would have fit right in,
yeah.
Sure.
right?
Scott
so you
Finner.
Scott Venner. He's playing the damn song.
He's playing the damn song.
That was the best part of the whole day we were over there. And
But
the best part about, I gotta say this before I forget, the best part about this is Joel's playing along with the freaking song, and Finner, he's like, holy shit, he's playing along with the fucking thing. It's fucking great.
He was so drunk.
Oh God. Anyway, well, I remember because that was when he had the surgery, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were over there because we had to move a pool table for him because he couldn't move the pool table.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the best part of that whole story for me is we walk in and you don't see him. You just see he's watching something on TV, and you just see this arm with this beer. Hey, boys! And so he's talking via this lounge chair, but you don't see him. You just see
Yeah.
this arm, and he's, come on over, have a drink. Well, no, Scott, we'll come
God.
over and hang out for a little bit though. God,
Great times, man.
so
Great times.
funny.
But no, that
Hey guys.
so you think of the people that movie depicts.
Sure.
That's who Deep Purple and Three Dog Night, bands like that, those are the people who listened. Now, granted, back then it was everybody was delving into the devil's lettuce, if you will. But yeah, that I'm not as well versed with Deep Purple as I am, say, like a Glenn Campbell, right? But this band, I think my favorite song from them is a song called Mistreated. And I learned about that watching the box set, the live Shit Venge and Purge box set from Metallica, and they have the 1992 San Diego concert from the Black Album, and the guitar solo starts off with Lars and Kurt playing Mistreated, and like I was like, this was before the internet, so like I had to scrounge and find like, well, what song, there you go, like what song is that, and here it is. Richie Blackmore is up there with guitar players of all time.
I've been mistreated.
Oh, I don't know why that stopped.
Well, I mean, it stopped right where it needed to.
I
that
didn't
was-
stop it, but it did on its own.
That was the
Okay.
gist of the song, but
No.
yeah, they
Interesting.
they're a really good band. I mean, obviously, you can tell that the drummer, the bass player, the keyboard player, like they're again back in a time where you couldn't just, oh, I'll Pro Tools it and I can upload it to YouTube and I'll get. You had to be somewhat, if not an expert at your craft, in order to be able to record an album and put it out there and last, not
Yeah.
just because from the beginning of time, as far as music concerned, there's always been your one hit wonders, your you're flash in the pans, but to last, to stick around, you had to be good. You had to, and especially because back then, your word of mouth was, I saw them play at this small little theater and they were really good, right? Like if you sucked live, if you couldn't play your instruments, you weren't, you went and, worked at the gas station or whatnot. Like,
Wow.
right?
Well, and there was no click. So for
Right.
you to trim up a song, it was very limited in that. And you could trim out like whole sections, but you couldn't trim out like, oh, I want to put a different snare here, or I want to replace this
Right.
bass line. It was, oh, we like this section. You'd snap it. I mean, they had a technique to do it, which is beyond my comprehension, but you're 100% right. You had to be dead on. And there's a lot of bands that, didn't make it because they weren't good. And then there's some
Well,
that did make it that weren't
I
good.
think that's why a lot of bands nowadays aren't that good, because I can put it in Pro Tools, and like you said, I can take this one kick drum if I want to. This one kick, I can take it out and replace it.
Yeah.
Right. If it's just a half measure off, I can, or whatever, I can just we'll fix it. Right. I don't have to go re-record it. I don't have to spend money on tape. Right.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. And that's why we can definitely today say they don't make music like this anymore, because I can play guitar okay and then put it in Pro Tools and jazz it up, and boom, I got a hit
100%.
song.
Yeah.
Well, before we move on to first listen, if y'all don't know who Deep Purple is, now you kind of have a little bit of an idea. Go check them out. But before we move on,
Check
Oh,
out
Real
their album
quick.
Machine Head. That's their big one.
that's their
Got
big
it.
one.
before we do first listen, I'm going to throw a curveball real quick.
Uh-oh.
It's a quick question, no
Uh-oh.
commentary, just answers, which is going to be very hard. But we heard my dad's favorite band, arguably his favorite. We've heard of who my mom's favorite band was, the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Fisher, who is your mom and dad's favorite artist?
Ooh.
Joel, who is your mom and dad's favorite artist? No commentary, just answers.
Dad's was, well, I've talked about it. Dad's was either the Stones or Eric Clapton.
Okay.
And my mom's was either, what era of her life do you want to,
I got you.
know, right? But if we're talking about when she was pre-kids, it was either Zeppelin or the Beatles.
Okay. What about you, Joel?
Yeah. So if I had to guess, my mom.
Oh, I can tell you who my mom's favorite. Jeff
Go
Beck.
ahead. Go.
Jeff Beck was my mom's favorite.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. Sock and tennis balls and Jeff Beck.
Okay. All right.
Orange
I-
soda.
That literally has blown my mind. So my mom would either be Jimmy Buffett, or she was a huge
Jimmy Buffett.
she was a huge Jimmy Buffett fan, and may get some groans, but towards the end of her life, she was really into Toby Keith.
Okay.
Like I don't know why, but
Ugh.
Jimmy Buffett,
Man.
Jimmy Buffett. Now my dad, oh my gosh, he's gonna kill me because
Willie Nelson.
no, it's a solo artist from the 60s. And
Well, that's
I-
Willie Nelson.
no, it wasn't Willie Nelson. It was a different guy. And
Chris Christopherson.
no, it wasn't country. It was he was rock, but he started off as kind of being, and I can't remember his name, so I'm sorry, but he was
Could you remember any of his songs?
no, because my dad loved him. Like that guy in like Harry Nilsson. I mean, my dad loved the Beatles too. So I mean, he got me into the Beatles. But there was this other guy, and I can't remember his name. He was kind of like a teen idol, and then he like started doing drugs and
Leif Garrett. Leif
no,
Garrett.
but before Leif Garrett, like that was 70s. This was like 60s. Anyway, he's gonna kill me because I can't remember, but that would probably be his favorite.
So here's the follow-up question, and it's basically a yes or no.
Okay.
And then we'll move on to first listen.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. So just knowing who their favorite artist or band is, if you were to see those two bands side by side, would you think that couple would be a couple? Does that make sense? Like, would their musical taste align for them to be a couple? Like my parents, would the Eagles and Deep
No.
Purple
No.
align?
No.
Okay.
But at least it's that same like genre. I mean, but no, with my parents, not at all.
And then Fisher, you're like the Stones and Jeff Beck.
Well, they all came out of the same
They all
place.
came out of the
They
60s.
all- I mean, yeah, well, and they're all from England. Go
Well,
figure.
and to put this in perspective, my parents and my stepmother and my dad, like, no, your parents, no, but like Fisher's parents, yes. And whose parents stayed together?
I was just gonna follow that up with out of the
Music
three of
brings
us,
it
whose
all
parents,
together.
You know, whose parents stayed married. You know.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Joel comes from a
Dude, my
divorce,
parents got married twice.
but you know what? But
But
they were
that's a different
married.
story for a different day.
But they were married
Yes, they
until
were.
the
They were,
untimely.
they were
you know,
married until mom passed away a few
Correct.
years ago. Yeah.
My
Oh my
mom and
gosh.
dad don't. Well, we won't go down that road.
That is-
And then the same with Joel's. We won't go down
hey,
that
so
road.
anyway, we got a first listen.
So on that note, man, that was a fun little detour. But for those of you that are new to the UNT3, this is what we do.
Yeah.
Right.
So yes,
I will literally get a random like, oh, well, let's do this real quick. Because there really are no rules here.
no
rules.
rules.
All right.
I think that should be our first T-shirt. But
And here's the thing. Oh, side note, coming to you soon from the UNT3, my new assistant in my classroom makes T-shirts. She has her own company. I've already sent her the logo, and I just need some ideas for slogans and possibly different fonts. And guess what? We will have merch.
Merch.
No
Hey, we have
rules.
stickers already.
So really, where are those at? Because I
Yeah,
don't
At
have
my
one.
house.
I've
keep-
been to your house, B word.
I know. I totally forgot when you left. I was like, "Dang it,
He
B
called
word."
you
That needs
B-word.
that
Golly,
needs to be
B-word.
another shirt. B
B
word.
word.
There it is. I've been to your house, B-word.
I've been
B-word.
to your dude. That's the shirt. I've been to your house, B word. Yes,
Oh,
because
my
here's the
gosh.
thing. That is that is with our logo like on the back, right? Like a little bitty one,
Oh,
just
we're never
under
getting
the
to the
collar.
first listen.
And I tell you what, the best part is that shirt is a conversation starter.
Sure, 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 sure.
Yeah.
How many
What?
beers
It's a
have you had?
preparation.
Jeez.
A
Where-
growler.
What are you drinking? Is it Big
had a gr-
Spray?
I've had a growler,
Is it Big
No.
Spray?
big spray, yeah.
Okay, nice. Okay.
So
All right, let's do this.
Well, hey,
first
we
listen.
got okay. So I
first
actually
listen, it's gonna be Nickelback. It's gonna be his favorite song, or it might be Creed, or it might be Mariah Carey. I don't
Oh
know.
my gosh. Okay, so I actually had a different song queued up, but after we've done this, hey, Gurfer, stop sharing your sounds like a chair.
Oh yeah, he's
After
gonna play you Celine Dion.
I am not gonna play Celine Dion. So to give a little, I was actually gonna play a song by Silver Sun Pickups.
Oh yeah.
Since I went and saw them. But I think Fisher will like this song. But I think it fits the mood of what we've been doing. So here, let me share my sound real
So
quick.
he will like it, but I won't.
You probably will not.
Good.
I love playing that game.
Dang it, I did again.
How many
No.
beers have you had, fool?
I haven't had anything. Let's try this again. Share my sound.
So
I'll
what you're
just-
saying is you can only function properly when you're inebriated.
Probably that is yeah.
That's terrible.
Okay, here we go. Y'all ready for this?
Yeah,
Yes.
let's do it.
Wait,
You
hold
sure
on. We
this
got
is-
it.
I was about to say this is not Silver Sun Pickups.
Sorry, no, this is not Silver Sun Pickup. Sorry, hold on. I
Oh,
grabbed
boy,
the wrong.
our editing team's gonna be busy on this one.
I grabbed the wrong song.
Okay.
Okay, let's try.
No,
this is-
I'm doing the first listen. Get the hell out of here.
no, hold on. I got it.
I've got mine ready to go.
I got mine. I got mine
Get,
too.
get the
Sorry.
hell out. No. You had your shot.
No, I'm already sure.
Oh my god. Off the flipping rails.
Oh my
I tell you
gosh.
what. And this is why we only have 39 subscribers on YouTube.
Dang it! Why is it not
You
giving me
suck.
this?
No, you suck. Get out of here.
Okay.
Go away.
I will give it up. Dang it! Why is it not playing the song I want to play?
I don't know.
Is that your
Okay.
go-to line on the first date? I will give it up.
No.
Damn, I said that out loud. I
It-
thought that was in my head.
Dang it! I had it queued up the song that I wanted to hear, man.
Apparently not.
I'm so sad. You would've liked
Amateur
it,
Hour
though.
brought to you by the
Okay.
UNT3.
Yes, brought to you by the UNT3. Okay.
This is bothering me though.
Balls. All right. This song, I'm hoping neither one of you have heard. It's a two-piece band and they're brothers. That's all I'm gonna give you.
The Nelsons.
No, not the Nelsons. They had two other people in the band. All right, but this is a song.
Milli Vanilli.
It's a 3-minute song, so here we go.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It was really good. It sounds like something I've heard. I just can't put it like what it is.
I've heard that before. That's really good, dude. I have absolutely heard that before.
Yep,
That is Taipei, Houston.
he ain't wrong.
Yeah, buddy. That's right.
Joe's face.
No.
That would be Lars Ulrich's sons, Miles and Lane. Come on now.
Miles already a better drummer than his dad.
Ain't that the truth?
That was really good.
It
I
was
liked it.
good. You
Oh.
haven't heard that before?
No.
I totally heard that, man.
Of course, I'm sure you have.
That's right.
I'm
Hey,
not
Charmin
Bob.
Ultra Soft. I'm allowed to know stuff you're not.
The shins.
I'm not.
If you
Your new
The shins.
your new nickname is Charmin Ultra Soft.
60, episode 62.
That is
see,
code
episode 60.
Charmin Ultra Soft. That is code for hey ass wipe.
But yes, that is Taipei, Houston. Those are the Lars Ulrich's two oldest sons. Miles, his oldest, and Lane, his middle. Miles is the drummer, and Lane is the bass player, singer, and they have a cover of Eleanor Rigby out on YouTube that you can go check out on their YouTube channel, Taipei Houston. It's you can tell it's Eleanor Rigby, but
They Eleanor Rigby it up.
oh yeah.
Nice.
So, but like yeah, Miles already a better drummer than his daddy.
That was really good.
So
I mean, I have nothing other to say that I really enjoyed that.
That was really
So
good.
Taipei, Houston, huh?
Check them
Okay.
out.
I'll check it out.
All right.
Nice. That was that was just really good.
Yeah.
It was just a straight ahead, in your face rock song, and it was really
You know
good.
what I like about it is, it's not anything that their dad would make.
No,
Right.
not at all.
So
And it's good. It's like, it's not like hey, it's not like what our dad does and it sucks. You know?
right. And what I also like about it is they're not relying on their name, right? Like they're
Yeah.
not, hey, we're the Ulrich boys and our dad's this famous rock star, so come what no, they're doing it like their dad did. Like
Yeah.
we're going out and we're gonna just take it to the road. And you know, I heard it, I think I heard it like 4 or 5 days ago. That was the first time I'd heard it. So there you go. Taipei Houston, As the Sun Sets is the name of the song.
Love it. That was really good. Okay, we're gonna do a special interruption because I was right.
God.
I
Hurry up,
was
gotta go
right.
eat dinner, yo. Let's go.
Okay, here, this is short though. I was right on this. I forgot it's a different intro, but wait till it kicks in.
Same damn song.
No, wait. You're gonna recognize it here in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's his helmet.
Yes, this is what I meant to play.
I thought you were playing Silver Sun Pickup.
No, I said I was. Oh my gosh. I was going to play Silver Sun Pickups, but I switched it to this song, but then I like second guessed myself.
I
you ever
thought
heard
he
this?
was
Fucking
playing
great
Silver Sun
song.
Pickups also.
Oh my gosh. This fits the mood way better.
This is a great song.
It is a
Great
great
band.
song.
And their song on the Crow soundtrack
It is good too.
amazing.
I
Well, you
love
want
this.
to talk about taking Fisher back to being 14, 15 years old.
Have you ever heard this before, Brian?
Yes.
Talk about a band that nobody sounds like.
Right?
This song was on Rock Band at some point, or Guitar
really?
Hero.
Oh, they're getting a 2 for tonight. This is such a great song.
You know who they remind me of?
Who?
They kind of remind me of Caius.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Might have to do them as a first listen one day.
That would be. I don't really know much about them.
Oh, dude, Caius is amazing.
I mean, I know just because of the tie with Metallica.
But you know, that was a very young Josh Holmes' first band.
Yeah,
Isn't that how you say his name?
yeah. I think you swallowed the H, Josh Holmes. I think. So good.
that bass is up front, isn't it?
Yeah.
Talk about loose strings on the bass, man. You hear it flopping all over the place.
That's what she said. I mean, this song is just a straight in your face slap the whole time. Okay, so we've had a crazy episode, everybody. We've covered a lot of stuff. I finally got it out of my system. It was going to drive me crazy. Because when I hit play, I was like, wait a second, I don't remember the beginning. But then I was like, that is the song I want to play.
Well,
so
I thought you were going to play Silver Sun Pickups. So
Well,
that
I
is
thought
definitely not them.
no, it's definitely not. That's Helmet. That's Unsung. And
Out of Germany, baby.
and we will definitely play Silver Sun Pickups and we'll talk about the show. But tell us what you think. This episode has been all over the place. But it's been a lot of fun.
Eddie and Jim's going to have fun with this one.
Yeah, so follow us on YouTube. A lot of outtakes on this one.
I see a mini-sode coming.
The Shins.
The Shins.
Follow us YouTube, Spotify,
Rumble.
Rumble, not Bumble. Bumble's completely different, but Rumble. Go check us out. Let us know that you're following us. Subscribe. Check these episodes out. We have a new one coming out every week. And so, Fisher, we know that you got some channels for us and you also got some dinner waiting. So
Yeah.
tell us what you got this week.
All right. Well, I shouted out one, Taipei, Houston. Go check them out. Check out the Ulrich boys.
Okay.
But when Ryan he mentioned last week's episode and the guessing the song by the drums, go check out Kai Smith. I think I may have shouted him out before, but go check him out. He's the guy who's famous for doing like the Beatles in 5 minutes. He plays every like a little snippet of their song. Like, hold on, the Beatles in 5 minutes. He's got Metallica's Black Album in 1 minute.
Oh, cool.
You know, he's a drum cover page. Rage Against the Machine in 5 minutes. Columbia Music in 5 minutes.
Nice.
Like, and it's just, he's a damn good drummer and he's very creative. Like, I wouldn't know how to take a snippet of drums from one song and segue into another song and into another. And so go check him out. He's pretty good. And then it's a guitar cover channel, JJ's One Girl Band. And this girl, man, she thrashes it up. She just, yeah, speed metal all the way, baby.
Okay.
She kills it. So go check her out. JJ's One Girl Band.
And while you're checking out like just thrasher people, I'm gonna throw somebody out real quick.
Ooh, there you go.
I don't usually do this, but hey, we've reached out. We may have a prominent TikToker and Instagram person on as a guest in the future. Go look up on TikTok. His name is I Am Joshua Johnson. He's a metalhead. He's into scary movies. He's got some really like horror movie tattoos, but he's way into music like we are. I Am Joshua Johnson on TikTok, Joshua Johnson on Instagram. Check him out. We may have him on in a future episode. We've reached out to a few other prominent Instagram and TikTok music people as well, and we're waiting to hear back from them. But if you go check him out on his stuff, let him know that we sent you there and tell him that he needs to come be a guest on the show because I want to pick his metal brain.
Yeah. If you check out any of these channels that we shout out, let them know that we sent you. You know, just a small little comment in the comment section saying, "Hey, the UNT3 sent us here."
That's right. Because hey, it takes a village.
That's right.
Right. It takes a village, and we're just trying to, we're trying to eat at the end of the night. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get,
we're just trying to feed our kids, yo.
that's all I'm trying to do. Okay. And right now at this point, I'll take the food channel if we can get on that.
Right
Okay.
on. Let's do it.
But hey, we're gonna have great stuff coming your way in future episodes. We'll bring that Drummond stuff back because I think they had a lot of fun trying to guess the track. Hopefully
Yeah.
you had fun with that at home as well. We got some more great featured artists coming your way. But until then, keep living, keep loving, keep listening, and as always, keep rocking.
All right, fellas, I'd like to stay on, but I gotta go eat.
Well, I got to go do an 80s party and ride a DeLorean. So.
F you. Now we got dead air to fill.
Yeah, that's okay. Hey, we can do it. So,
It's the first listen. Have I heard it?
you may have, I don't know. It's inspired by my recent trip, but I don't know. Does he have a featured artist as well on top of this? This is what happens when the leader disappears, man. We just kind of flounder. We have to go to the bathroom. We have to get another beer. I don't know. Did aliens take him? I mean, guys,
One will never know.
one will never know. You better hurry up or I'm going to start telling his story that he said we couldn't tell. I'm going to insert it here without the music.
There he is.
Insert it. So we were about to have to call 911 because I had to pee, and so
Call 911.
that's a
911's a joke.
tip of the hat to
That's
a first
episode
listen.
2.
That's episode 2.
Episode
I gotta
2.
pee. Somebody call 911. So hey,
So real quick, Gurfers, Fisher, y'all know what episode this is? Just for
70.
it's close. It's not that. Fisher, but it's
69.
close. No, it's close. No,
Oh,
it's
okay.
68.
Okay.
So we need to make the next episode.
All right.
If
Okay.
the intro to the next episode is not Bill and Ted's Great Big Adventure,
69.
what number are we thinking of? 69, dudes.
Whoa.
If that's not the intro to next episode,